What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. I am Brody, joined by Two Dong Dylan.
Hey.
And the Baroness, Charlie.
All right. I'll take it.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us. We here at Talk Talk Punch are building a wonderful little community. We love interacting with you all, so please remember to be kind in the comments. We're all just having some fun here. While you're here, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in on the audio version of the podcast, make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and come back here every Wednesday to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we are ranking our top 3 favorite 80s cartoons. We are all right around that age where 80s cartoons were a big deal. So we thought, hey, let's go a little nostalgic. Let's take a peek back in history and talk about some of this stuff we grew up with. So there we go.
Good idea. Saturday morning cartoons.
There we go.
Thought you guys were gonna jump in a little bit there. All right. So how did you guys build these lists? You're just picking your favorites? You guys factor in toys? You factor in just the cartoons? You factor in movies later on in life? How'd you do this?
So, all right. So I had a very complicated scientific formula. So I'm going to try to break it down here a little bit for the layman. But what I did is I took pure enjoyment from my childhood. And then I added a dash of how I view that show now as an adult. And I split that into 2 categories. 1, would I watch it with my kids? And 2, would I watch it without them, but secretly not tell anyone because maybe it's weird that I'm watching it? And I factored in toys. Did I play with them when I was a kid? And then the second part of that is, would I buy them now as an adult as a collector, or have I already? And number 3, and most importantly, well, how would I feel if it was getting rebooted or remade? Would I be excited, or would I be like, meh? So, and then I kind of, calculated all of that, and I came up with my very, very scientific top 3 80s cartoons. And number 1 just might shock you.
Yeah.
Man, that is a scientific way of doing it.
It's very scientific.
Two Dong, was yours that scientific?
Mine was not that scientific. Mine was much more mathematic, you see. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually just I chose the ones that I really enjoyed as a kid. I guess you could say I did factor in a little bit of the rewatchability as an adult. And yeah, no, they're still rewatchable. And not only that, there was a bit of depth. It wasn't just like, hey, this is a fun cartoon. Some of them were like inspiring in very odd and different ways. I'm spoiling nothing because some of my picks will shock you. But no, there's definitely not a big scientific method to it.
Okay.
Fairness.
I just picked my favorites, and I did factor in the toys because for every 80s cartoon, there was a massive toy line as well.
Oh, yeah. So
the toys and the cartoons to me are kind of, you just can't like disconnect them really. So that's kind of how I did it. I went based off. I didn't really factor in rewatchability. I guess I could have.
It's a small percentage.
But I didn't.
I
didn't. Just going off of my memory and how much I loved these. And man, this was harder to nail down. I struggled. Even as we're like in our pre-production, I'm like, do I change something? Do I change the order? Do I take something out and put something on? But we're recording now, so it's stuck as is.
No more changes.
All right, let's get right into it. I don't know who's up first, so if you see yours, speak up.
Okay.
And then that'll be the order. I'm normally more prepared. Excellent. Oh, it's Two Dong.
Hey, it's me. That's
a good one.
Number 3. Now, I remember, folks, the first time Muppet Babies was even thought of was in the movie The Muppets Take Manhattan. And I went into the theaters with my younger brother and my dad, and we saw it. It was great. And then along the lines, there was a dream sequence with the Muppet Babies. And then it actually showed. I actually rewatched some of these, and I still think that they're hilarious. Absolutely love them. I love the voices. I loved just about everything about them. I thought they were adorable. They were cute. Sometimes they could get a little, just like anybody. Like there's got to be conflict. Sometimes you get a little irritated by it. But I will say this is one of those that just Each one of these that I chose were the ones that I would like kind of wait for. Like you had to go back. Hey, we got to stop the game we're playing. We got to go watch Muppet Babies. Love rewatching them, and it's funny because I think every one of my picks were in fact remade, and I just pretended it didn't happen. I don't even care. Each one of them were remade, and I'm like, nope, no.
You didn't watch the Muppet Baby remake?
Nope. I didn't watch any of these remakes. However, I have revisited just about each one of these, and I have been pleased each time I have. Love Muppet Babies. Beautiful. Kermit is always the bomb. I love Kermit the Frog. Every one of them.
Kermit the Frog here. Thank you for liking my Muppet Babies. They're all my babies. I had all of those babies.
Piggy, come on. Oh, Piggy.
Oh, Piggy.
Come on, say it.
Oh, Piggy.
Muppet Babies is my number 3.
There you go. Nice pick, Tudong. All right, Charlie, I think you are up next.
Okay.
Yep, you are.
All right. So for my number 3, and I swapped my number 3 in and out a bunch. I ended up settling on Thundercats. It had a nice long run. It had a movie that ended up being split into 4-part episodes because of the failings I mentioned with the Transformers and Pony movies. God, that Transformers movie is good though. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. One F word in it, kids.
Was it an F word or an S word?
I don't remember. There's just one curse word.
I think it's the S word.
You liked that? I didn't care for it.
I didn't care for it. Oh, the movie or the S word?
The movie.
Oh.
With Rodimus Prime? I was like, come on.
It was good.
I thought it was cool.
And it had like one of the best 80s soundtracks. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the Transformers movie. We're here to talk about Thundercats. Ho! The show when I saw it as a kid debut, and I liked it so much that what I would do is I would get out the old VCR, and whenever Thundercats would come on, I'd pop in the VHS tape and bam, I'd record it so I could revisit my Thundercats later on. So I had a nice little collection of Thundercats VHSs before they were recorded over by various members of my family. So sadly, I do not have my VHS Thundercats, nor do I have a VCR to watch them on. But I do have the memories of my footy pajamas and my sugary cereals and my Thundercats. I still say snarf quite a bit. That is something that has found its way into snarf. Snarf.
I love snarf.
I have a friend, I swear, who sounds just like Snarf when he talks. It's great. Charlie, Snarf. It's one of you two. No, you know who you are. You're watching. He's watching. He knows. He sounds like Snarf. But this is a great blend of action. I loved the weaponry and the imagery. I thought the villain was really, really cool.
Scary.
It was a very intense show. And it just was really fun. I guess I did not. There's a I didn't know. There was a 2011 kind of like prequel series that came out and was like ran like 20 episodes and was gone. People seemed to really like it. I didn't see it, didn't know it existed. I also didn't know that there was like a new Thundercats that came out in like 2021 that looks like the same animations, like maybe like Steven Universe, and people seem to hate it. So I have not seen that either, but it seems like maybe it's more of a parody of Thundercats. Like it's more like funny and kind of almost like making fun of it a little bit, which I guess if you like hold Thundercats near to your heart, you wouldn't like. But anyway, had the toys, loved the animal imagery of the warriors and the fighting, and this was a very fun show for me as a kid.
Yeah, I liked this one. I remember that Mumra was very scary though.
Oh yeah.
I love that his dagger, it was a dagger when he was carrying it around in his paw scabbard, and then it could extend to an actual sword, and the eye and all that stuff. That was really cool.
Really cool. Very cool series.
All right. My number 3. Good old G.I. Joe. Now, I really liked G.I. Joe as a kid. I really liked the toys. I mean, I loved the vehicles, stuff like that. And so there were so many different vehicles and characters and all of these variety of characters. You even had like Sergeant Slaughter coming in, and me as a wrestling kid was so stoked whenever Slaughter would just show up and start barking orders at people. I always thought that was really cool. It was just neat. It's funny because this is one that my oldest son has picked up on, and he really likes watching this. He goes back and he watches them and enjoys them, and I, some episodes I kind of remember, and some episodes I have no idea. So for it being around for like as long as it kind of has, it only ran for 2 seasons.
Really?
Granted,
That's one of those. Yeah.
Granted, there were like 95 episodes between the 2 seasons, but only 2 seasons, and it ran forever. I mean, it just went
Kept
on.
re-showing it. Yeah, it was only 85 eps. I was surprised by that.
85? Oh, Wikipedia says 95.
I wonder if because there was a movie. I wonder if they counted the movie as episodes.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
that wouldn't be 10. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know.
Note to our viewers out there: if you know why the IMDb and the Wikipedia discrepancy is 10 episodes, let us know.
I'm not sure. But
Maybe they're counting the great Community episode, the G.I. Joe Community episode.
I love that. I was waiting to bring that up. That's beautiful, sir. Beautiful. I love that episode.
But yeah, it was just great. I loved it as a kid. It's
Who's your favorite
it's still
character?
kind of cool. Oh.
I love Storm Shadow. Come on,
Snake
Storm
Eyes. Come on,
Shadow.
Snake
It
Eyes.
would be Snake Eyes. It's interesting rewatching these, how kind of little Snake Eyes is used for how popular he is nowadays. And I'm sure that there are like more modern cartoons with him, and he's probably the main character. But back in these original ones, like there's episodes that don't even have him. It's strange. But
Well, they had to introduce new characters to sell more toys.
that's
Right? It's
true.
not like they could just have the same 5 characters. So they're like, hey, here's somebody who likes crocodiles and
That's
here's-
true.
loves his gumbo and whatever else.
Yeah.
It's introducing the random characters. He's a guy on skis.
Yeah. Now the G.I. Joe movie, not as good. it's not good. When they did a fake out where they killed Duke, but then after the killing of Optimus Prime didn't go down very well, they like refilmed audio of somebody saying like he was just in a coma. It was like
He'll be all right.
You don't kill Optimus Prime. You just
So there
don't
you go.
do it.
There's my number 3, G.I. Joe, a real American hero. Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
All right, number 2, Tudong, you're up.
My number 2 is the real Ghostbusters. And let me tell you why. Now, this is the one that actually inspired me. It made me want to be an actual Ghostbuster. I collected the toys, and they had their cool little proton packs with the lasers shooting out. You had all the different kinds of ghosts and all that other kind of like they're starting to get a lot of different toys, and I was like, they're kidding me with this stuff. This isn't Star Wars. But either way, I loved reading about ghost stories after this. I kind of liked it before, but with this, I was like, you can actually do this for a living and probably a bad living? Sign me up for it in that case. And you always want to play Ghostbusters, all that kind of stuff. I loved it. I would always love to. If they had like a real kind of I don't know how you could select. Like I can't remember any of the actual like storylines, but some of them they would take from popular fiction or something, some of those kind of things, like popular ghost stories. And I thought those were just absolutely fantastic. It inspired me. I collected the toys. Definitely would come back from school and be like, we'll play after Ghostbusters if we will, but we got to watch Ghostbusters. That definitely my number 2, and it's a close number 2, close to almost number 1, because I had to switch it a couple of times, but I had to be true to myself when it came to number 1. But the real Ghostbusters, and little trivia for you, it's called the real Ghostbusters instead of just Ghostbusters because there was already a television show, I think in England, called Ghostbusters, and so they were just like, that's fine, you go ahead and keep the name. They wanted to use the name, and they were like, no, you can't do it. And so they were like, that's fine, then we're the real Ghostbusters. And that's who they are. As a matter of fact, you've got Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz, Egon Spengler, Winston Zedmore, Janine Melnitz, and Slimer, and all of that. And that's how he became a character in the movie, the second movie, because of his popularity in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Now, why
That cartoon was good.
Why was Egon blonde? I always thought that was
Because you can't have them all have this look. Like Ray has red hair. You can't have him look. There was a cool picture that I thought I was going to put on there where it was more of an approximation of how they actually looked in the movies, mirroring with the real Ghostbusters on the other side, and they're like interacting with him, doing things more like from the movie. Like the movie Egon was like pointing. You remember how he goes along with his his little devices, and he sees a guy and he's like, I don't actually know, and he pokes the guy just to make sure he's a real person. He's doing that to Egon, and the other Egon with his blonde hair is like, what the hey, like, what are you doing? Like they had more of a they made him more, but I mean they had to make him different. They had to make him a bit more distinct. They can't all have the same like hair color. Just like Ray has red hair, he doesn't have red hair. This Dan Aykroyd doesn't have red hair. He's got brown hair, dark brown, like the rest.
Fair enough.
I'd assume that's why they also have the different colored costumes or the jumpsuits, because in the actual one they have the same colored jumpsuits, but they got to have them different. Otherwise, who knows?
You have to be able to sell the Halloween costume.
Oh, that too. I never had.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
You got to differentiate. Nice.
Yeah, Peter Venkman is the bomb.
All right.
All right.
Charlie, you're
my number
two.
two is not a controversial pick here. This is not some outside the box show. This is, of course, Transformers. We've talked a little bit about the toys here or there and the movie here or there, but the cartoon show started it all. It's like you could just picture someone in a toy room, like, all right, kids like what? Robots? They like what? Like planes? They like cars?
Like cars. All right. Oh, don't forget guns and lasers.
You got guns and lasers. Come on. They like annoying Earth humans who you interact with the robots. I got a good idea. It's probably some Tom Hanksian from Big guy in a room playing with the robots and toys.
Yeah,
and he came up with Transformers. These will be great. And this is another show that didn't run as long as it seems like it has, and one where maybe the luster of the brand for me has waned in years because I just haven't really cared for like the Transformer movies, the live action ones, all that much. No offense to those of you, Brody, who love all of those.
I liked Bumblebee. I liked Bumblebee.
No shame. There's no shame in
John Cena.
in
That's why.
He does love John Cena.
I'll forgive you for loving John Cena that much because
I don't love
that makes sense. Much. But loving the actual movie, come on. So
my mom got rid of a lot of my toys from my childhood, and in a one of those sad. I had all these great toys in the attic, and then she like just gave them to somebody one day, kind of way, like my Millennium Falcon and things that just would be worth a lot of good eBay money. But one thing that I do still have is a box full of Transformers, and this has been fun to kind of revisit with the kids because there's just so many different versions of Transformers that exist today, whether different animated shows or series, the movies. And stuff, but so my kids are familiar with the Transformers and great graphic novels too, comic books, and so it's been kind of fun to have those toys and pull them out and work on my transforming skills. I'm telling you, some of those, much like myself, some of those joints are pretty rusty and hard to maneuver. So Optimus Prime doesn't transform quite as quickly as he used to, but it's still fun to have those toys, and they're fun collectibles. So this one I had to put on the list just because. I have great nostalgia for it, and I still enjoy the iconography of it. I still like the various. I like the symbols are so cool, and I still have all the various Transformers and even the Dinobots, which I hated. Man, I hated the Dinobots. I hate them so much. Oh my gosh, they were so me Grimlock, me very dumb, me ruin Transformers cartoon for young Charlie.
No. Say, what was the Autobot equivalent to Soundwave? Because I have that one still somewhere, and I've got he turns into like a boombox, but I never could get Soundwave.
Are you talking about Soundwave?
No, that's the Decepticon. But
he turns into a boombox, and then you have like the different tapes.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember what.
No. See, I remember Soundwave, and I always wanted Soundwave. I never got Soundwave, but there was an Autobot equivalent who was red. And he would turn into one too, but I cannot, for the life of me, now remember his name.
Dylan, don't make up Transformers on the spot here.
I'm gonna find it, sir, and I'm gonna bring it the next time we film, and I'm gonna show you that I have it. It's true, but I cannot remember the guy's name now. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I liked the Constructicons. They were my favorite.
The Constructicons were very cool. By the way, it's Blaster. Blaster was the name.
Oh, Blaster, that's it. Yeah,
I still have my Soundwave with all the like the little cassette
Ooh,
tape, like
cassette
the dog
tapes,
and the bat. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the Constructicons are really cool. I still have my Constructicons.
Yep.
I just didn't like. The only thing I didn't like was I did not like the
Dinobots.
It was too far. It was too much. We like robots and planes and lasers. It was too much. And kids like dinosaurs. Can we get some dinosaurs on the show? They like construction vehicles. Kids like this stuff. It was too much. Too many things.
Yeah.
Overloading of the senses.
I almost put this on my list. This was one it's not on my list.
Wow.
It was really
so
close.
over here.
It was really close, and this was one that I really wanted to put on my list, but
I thought there was gonna be a lot more crossover, if I'm being honest.
I told you guys. I said I don't think there is going to be. All right. Well, this is a good pick, Charlie.
Very good. Classic.
All right. My number 2 is Mask.
Ooh.
Now, I really liked Mask, and I know that it kind of this was one of the like, oh, Transformers is really popular. What else can we transform? So this was a group of. I love the premise. So my oldest son found this one recently because he was actually digging through my old toys and found my old Brad character, who was my favorite because he was the best. He had the green motorcycle that could turn into a helicopter, and I'll tell you,
yeah, that was the best. That was the best.
He was like a rock star, and it was. I was thinking about this the other day when I found this show and watched it with my son. I was watching the intro and I remembered I would watch the show and I was convinced that because Brad was the best, that the intro would be like different if different people were included. And so I would watch the intro to the show and be like, oh man, I didn't notice anything. I don't know if Brad's going to be in this one. And then Brad would show up and I was like, oh, what did I miss? Did I see something or did I not see something? And it would drive me crazy. It was all the same intro. They're not filming different intros, but I was convinced. I was like, there's something special about this one. But these were the coolest toys. This was a neat show. It's funny because it's like, it's Matt Tracker, who's just like this super smart, super rich dude. And he makes all these stuff for like his friends, and they all have these masks that come down, and they all have a vehicle that turns into another vehicle. And then MASK, which stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command.
Cool.
And with a K, as it's often spelled.
They're fighting Venom, which stands for Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem.
Wow.
Who also has vehicles that can turn into other vehicles, and they also have masks. And it's funny, on the Wikipedia, it says Venom, primarily known for robbery, extortion, counterfeiting, kidnapping, or attempting to steal historical artifacts. It's just,
did they steal historical artifacts?
I guess so.
All the time.
I guess so.
All the time.
But I really like this show. This one almost made my number 1 because I really enjoyed this one. I loved the toys. I thought it was so cool. I still have my Brad. I don't have his motorcycle anymore, but I have my little figure. I don't even have his mask anymore. It's sad. But this was a really, really cool one. Only ran for 2 seasons, 75 episodes, according to Wikipedia. Yeah. Who knows what IMDb says? But yeah, this is a neat one. This is a new one. And you could watch it on Pluto, I think. Pluto?
On what?
Pluto. You can watch a lot of these old cartoons on, I think it's called Pluto. It's either Pluto or Tubi. I can't remember. It's one of them, a channel I have on my Roku. But you can find a lot of these things. So there you go. There is my number 2, Mask. Mask. That's from the intro.
Nice.
All right, number 1s. Tudong, what's your number 1?
My number 1, DuckTales. And
Nice.
let me tell you why. First
Nice.
off, Donald Duck is one of my favorites, and he was in the first episode. not only that, but several of their episodes they turned somehow into movies, or the movies into episodes. The man could literally swim in his money like it was liquid somehow or another. He could transform it
so
into
painful.
liquid. I don't know how. I remember there was a Family Guy cutaway where he's like, I'm going to get all of my gold coins. I'm going to swim in it. And he's like, it's not a liquid. It's just a solid. It's horrible. And he's all completely destroyed. But he could do it. He had his lucky number one coin. It was his
nickel.
Lucky dime.
Was it a nickel?
It was a dime.
It was a dime?
It wasn't a nickel. It was a dime. How dare you, bro? A nickel?
Sorry.
Oh, no, it was number one dime.
My number one dime.
Huey, Louie, and Dewey, and Huey was red, Dewey was blue, and Louie was green. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You had Magic and Dispel. You had Gizmo Duck after a while, but nobody, of course, can beat Launchpad McQuack.
Lathering Blathersight.
Lathering Blathersight. I love that. To this day, sometimes I'll mumble that to myself. Yeah, I mean, you've got the stories, you've got the adventure, you've got the history, you've got just the guy. Even if they're just hanging out, and the Beagle Boys come into town, it's a great time. You know, sometimes somebody who's going through some issues, they'll work them out. Beautiful stuff. The boys were, I cannot remember what they were part of, some kind of like a troop, like a Duck Scouts kind of a thing. I can't remember, but they would go on these missions, and they'd go with Scrooge, Uncle Scrooge, Mrs. Beakley, Webbigail. I can't remember the name of the butler though. I couldn't remember this before, and I still can't remember it. But I love the characters. I love the stories. I love the adventure. The imagination of it, because you're a kid watching these things. You're like, they're going on these adventures. They're going to other countries. They're finding the lost city of Atlantis. All these different things. And it was a blast, and I loved it to absolute pieces. I mean, this is one where you're like, I really want to be them. There's no real way to actually... I could look into paranormal and all that kind of stuff, but this is one of those where you're like, I'm not ever going to be a duck that can turn coins into liquid somehow and swim in it. You don't have a lucky number one coin and everything. But I'll tell you this,
not with that attitude. I mean,
not with this attitude. I know, but I thought it was fantastic, and I loved it. You learn lessons. You learn about other places. You learn about yourself, and you learn about these Disney characters.
Duckworth.
He's not even a duck either. He was like a beagle or something. But Duckworth, I like that.
This
might have been a duck.
This was also a great video game.
I was gonna say, of all the ones in our list, this is the one that had the good video game for sure. Still playable. Playable.
Yeah, it is.
Nice. I have not played it. This is one where I was like, I would have gotten toys for this, but I never really. I don't know. But either way, my number one, it's not too shocking. I'll admit, this is not a wild card, but oh yeah, I loved watching this. When it came on, I think it came on to Hulu. Or no. It came on to Disney Plus, obviously. And I started watching them, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm still enjoying this. This is great.
The new one is good too. I don't know if you've watched any of the new. It's got your boy from Community on there. It's pretty good.
Who?
Danny Putty. And Ben Schwartz of Sonic fame, Bobby
Who's
Moynihan. So Bobby Moynihan and him and Ben are all Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Which one is Danny Pudi?
I don't remember. Dewey. Let's just say Dewey.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to give. I don't know.
Also,
I don't know.
best theme song on the list.
Yeah.
So far. This is a killer theme song. Life is like a hurricane. It's a jam. When we watch the new one with the kids, and so like whatever anyone's doing in the room, it doesn't matter. As soon as the theme song comes on, my wife can be in the other room, or everyone just we all launch into it like we're in some musical, and like the lights are up, and we're like race cars, lasers, air. we got our duck groove on.
This one especially, I'm looking forward to showing my my daughter. Definitely,
fun.
Totally rewatchable.
Cool.
And that's
my number one is something that you guys could probably guess if you've been Brody and known me a long time and been forced to watch it. Dylan, I don't think I ever forced you to watch this, so you're welcome.
Can I guess?
Or I'm sorry.
Can I guess?
You can guess. You can guess, Brody.
Is it Robotech?
It is Robotech, the greatest cartoon of all time. Probably not, but also the greatest 80s cartoon of all time. Definitely. By the way, Brody, 75 episodes of The Mask premiered in 1985, the same year that Cher and Eric Stoltz came out with The Mask. No relation.
Nope.
But Robotech, the greatest anime of all time, ever compiled of 3 different separate animes that had no business being matched together. This is fantastic. 3 generations. Generation 1 was fantastic. Generation 2 was kind of meh. Generation 3 was amazing. You got the mecha. There's these jets that turn into robots, but they also turn into like these like hybrid jet robots where like it's a jet body but like robot legs that dangle down. The toys were phenomenal. I still have some of my toys left, as well as some like more collectible type statues. Oh man, I love Robotech. I read Robotech novels. I read Robotech comics, or manga, I should say. This was the first anime that I ever just fell absolutely in love with and started me on a lifelong appreciation and love of anime. This is definitely not the best anime that exists, and a lot of the story falls apart because they are literally piecing it together from other television shows. So some of the stuff just doesn't work, and they're so long. The seasons are so long, and so like the first like good 20 episodes of season 1 are like, okay, there's a couple that like almost repeat themselves. I rewatched it. I watched it as an adult on Amazon, and it's like, okay, well I just watched this episode. Wait, okay, no, it's like a clip show. Good, but man. And let me tell you, it holds up. This had the saddest death. Like too young to they killed off. I won't spoil it. But they killed off like a main character, like who I loved. Halfway through the show, he dies. He can't die. What are you talking about? Heroes don't die. They live forever. They kill him, and then they go and they kill another guy, and then they just kill everybody. Everybody dies in season 1. They just start killing. The whole Earth is destroyed. I mean, they're just killing people like it's Oprah just handing out death, and you get a death, and you get a death, and everybody dies. And then after they kill everyone, the season 1's got like 10 more episodes. It doesn't make any sense. It's okay.
This is where you got that writing style from. Everybody dies.
Everybody dies. Look, the 80s cartoons kept killing off our heroes, man. They're like, hey, we'll kill Optimus Prime. We'll kill Duke.
They really did.
We'll kill everybody. Doesn't matter. But man, the 3rd generation was the one. Like I was really young watching the first one, and it was dark and very adult. In fact, on Amazon, there's like nudity, which there was definitely not when I watched it as a kid on regular television. I tried to show my kids the first couple episodes, and they're like, not really into it, which is good because by the 4th episode, there's a girl in the shower, and I'm like, well, that would have been really awkward to explain.
Kids, there's a little thing called showers.
So, all right, well, there she is. She's no big deal. All right, on we go. So just if you're watching it on Amazon, just be fair warned. I was not in the U.S. television release, but the 3rd generation was so cool. They had like the motorcycles that turn into like body armor, and they're launching missiles out at the Invid, all the protocol stuff. Like really, really neat storytelling, really, really fun. Some of it's real dark and adult. I think of all the ones on my list, this is the one that's definitely the most rewatchable as an adult. This is one that has been rumored to be made into a movie since I was a kid, and they keep saying, oh, the rights were bought in 2007, and Tom Cruise is going to be part of the project, and then now it's 2011. We got a new director attached, and even today I looked up. There's the director of Hawkeye Television. He's going to direct the live-action Robotech movie. This is brand new news in 2022. It is never going to happen. It is so frustrating. The kid debuted in '85, and every 5 to 10 years, there's some huge rumor that swells up. This is the year, and it shouldn't be a movie anyway. It should be an awesome television show where we can expand the plot a little bit. Oh man, the characters are good. The mecha tech is so great. The Macross stuff is so fun. Do yourself a favor, if you have any interest in this at all, watch Robotech, if for no other reason than just to go, why does he like it? I don't get it. But skip the 2nd generation, do yourself a favor. Go 1, and then as soon as everybody on Earth dies, go to season 3.
Can you then go to 2 after you do 3, or just skip 2 altogether?
Look, I shouldn't say skip 2. I will say watch 2, and if you get to a point where it makes you want to stop watching the show, then skip to 3. You don't need 2. It's like they're all standalone stories. Okay. The mecha and the tech and stuff and Generation 2 is really cool. There's big tanks that turn into huge robots with like huge cannons. very cool. But so the characters are a little bit more obnoxious, and the storytelling is a little bit more uneven. I just didn't like it as much. I didn't like it as a kid, and I thought, well, I'll like it better as an adult. I did not. But the third one is the stuff. There's some episodes in there that are going to scar you. You will think about them for weeks. They're so deep and dark and sad.
My goodness.
But the battle stuff is so cool, man. So cool.
Nice.
Anyway, someday they'll make a cool version of this or a good video game of it, and either way, I'll be happy.
Ooh, there you go.
It's only been 30 years. Come on, it can happen.
All right. Well, my number one kind of just has the opposite of what Charlie's number one has, because my thing was huge and there was everything, and I was a part of all of it. Man, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
Now this came out in 87, right? And so I remember watching this. I was so into Ninja Turtles. The games, the movies, the toys, the TV show. I watched this every morning. Pizza, everything. And I loved this show. I remember that they had 2 episodes every morning, and there were some days where school would start late, and I'd be like, I get to watch both episodes. And it was amazing. I was such a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kid. Like, I was full on board with this. Like, all the toys, t-shirts, like everything. I had a Ninja Turtle birthday party. I think I was like turning.
I was 25 too.
8 or something. Yeah, it was. I think I was turning 8 or something like that, and my older sister made Ninja Turtle cupcakes that you used to be able to bring cupcakes to school. You can't do that anymore, but you could hand out cupcakes, and they all had turtles on them, and it was everything Ninja Turtles. And this show, I just loved this show. This show actually ran for 10 seasons. This version ran until 1996.
Wow. Which one was your favorite, bro? You had to have a favorite.
Of Turtles?
Yeah.
Raphael.
Charlie, who's your favorite?
Michelangelo. Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
Of course. Tudong likes Leonardo.
That's not true.
No, he's a Donatello guy.
Are you a Donatello?
It starts with the letter D.
Because he wears purple.
Because he wears and I wear purple all the time. That's true.
I wear purple all the time. My name's Dylan. This is a perfect impression.
Wow. That is.
It's me, Dylan. Forget about it.
But this,
an ounce of Italian blood in me. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't. And somehow that's fine. It's also very accurate.
But this, we're going long, sorry, guys. Let me finish.
Well, wrap it up, man. What are you doing?
I'm trying. So this, when I came down to my number one, it was really like, what was I into the most? What grabbed every part of my life? And it was Ninja Turtles. So this one had to be number one. And this one, because it ran for so long, I watched it for a long time. I probably watched it until the early 90s or so. I don't think I watched it all the way till 2. But definitely for a couple years. Left a big imprint on my life, those Ninja Turtles. And then it got rebooted into another show and another show and another movie and another show and another movie and another show. And there's still shows and still movies. And
that first 2 movies were really fun.
Yeah. Third was horrible.
Third was unwatchable. Yeah, it's true.
The Turtles in Time?
Yep. I actually don't think it was called Turtles in Time. It wasn't officially called that. Everybody just called it that because there was the video game Turtles in Time, but Turtles 3 was just Turtles 3.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, you guys have anything else to add? Like I said, this is a long one.
All right.
So, anybody, if you recognize the shirt that I'm wearing, please mention it in the comments, and I'll give you a little bit of another clue, which is less of an obscure clue right here. Please, this came out kind of in the 80s, manga style, but it was an anime, and I saw it more in the early 90s with my with one of my best friends, Taka, who's Japanese, and would translate them for me. I almost thought I gave it away, and yet it's an anime, so it makes sense. So it was before it came here and became popular. Usually when I we'll go out, and when I used to substitute in this shirt, all the kids loved it. Please sound off in the comments. Which kind of shirt is this?
I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, and if you guess right, then he'll wear no shirt the next podcast. It'll be great.
Nobody said that.
Confirmed.
No, I did not say that.
Confirmed.
No.
Confirmed. So look, hey, if you guys are a fan of all things 80 nostalgia, I will just say Check out Robot Chicken. I kept thinking about various Robot Chicken episodes that feature all the shows that we talked about tonight and just making myself laugh in my head. The mask episodes are so good. They have some really great Robot Chicken parodies of these shows. It's really a lot of fun. But look, we're in a nostalgic mood. So come on, hit that like and subscribe button. Be part of the nostalgia. So then that way, 20 years from now, you can be like, you want to see this crazy podcast where they're talking about things that are like 100 years old that nobody cares about? Check it out. And I'm sure that's not exactly what you sound like. You are lovely people out there with beautiful voices. But that was a perfect Dylan impression. And that's how we'll leave it tonight. Click here for more videos. Have a good night.
Bye.
Subscribe under the beard. Subscribe under the beard.